Let me ask you, my friends, can you find a property worth investing where you live? Maybe you live in Miami, Orlando, San Diego, and you can't really find a property that gives you that positive cash flow that you so desire. Sounds familiar? Happened to me? Maybe it's currently happening to you. You live in Seattle and are unable to find an investment home where the numbers make sense. So, what do? What did I do? As most of you know, I went ahead and bought properties in Northern Virginia and Chicago. And at that time, I used to live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was an out of state investor and I screwed up, and that also royally. Have you ever looked at a property online and thought, wow, that's a steal. The pictures look amazing. The numbers seem to work. The neighborhood appears decent on Google Maps. And before you know it, you're getting ready to submit an offer. But here's the scary part. Some of the biggest mistakes I have seen investors and me make happen because they bought a property that they never truly saw. And if you're investing out of state, the risk is even bigger. Remember, when you take a risk, you gain a distinct advantage. Buying out of state is definitely a risk. Make sure you gain that distinct advantage, else it's pointless to take that big risk. I can tell you right now, I had 7 properties in Chicago, all investments, all but one were a disaster. I sold them all except one that I still have, and I lost so much time, money, and effort. Almost everyone I knew walked on me. Almost everyone I knew laughed at me. Everyone tried crushing my soul. But I am still here today. I sold those properties and bought investment homes in Charlotte before COVID. As soon as COVID came along, everything went through the roof here in Charlotte. Today, I'm going to show you why spending a little money to preview a property can save you thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. I will also share some real examples of things investors completely miss until it was too late. And trust me, one of these mistakes is so common that almost every out-of-state investor has either made it or come dangerously close. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, if you don't know me or are new to my channel, my name is Vikram Chopra. I was an investment banker turned broker in the greater Charlotte metropolitan area, where I invest and assist other investors reach their financial goals through real estate investing. The biggest lie in real estate. Let's start with a simple truth. Pictures lie. Now, technically, they don't lie, but they definitely don't tell the whole story. A real estate photographer's job is to make sure that a property looks as good as possible. That's what they are paid to do. Wide-angle lenses make rooms look larger. Certain camera angles hide the defects. Editing software brightens the room. Grass looks greener. Walls look cleaner, and suddenly a tired property looks like $1 million bucks. But here's what the pictures don't show. The smell, the noise, the neighborhood, those abandoned cars down the streets, the barking dogs, the factory around the corner, the power lines behind the backyard, and those things matter a lot because those are the things your future tenants or buyers will see, not the edited photographs. And that's why previewing matters. Now, if you know someone in that area that is willing to help, then that's awesome. In my case, the realtors in Alexandria and Chicago were helping me. The Alexandria realtor was and is amazing. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same thing about the Chicago realtor. He just wanted me to buy whatever made him his commissions, and I was so dumb to see it through. The 15,000 driveway problem. I go to this local investors meetings here in Charlotte. I met an investor there who found what looked like an amazing deal online. The numbers were incredible. Cash flow looked strong. The property appeared solid. Everything seemed perfect. There was only one problem. Nobody actually visited the property. The investor bought it. A few weeks later, a contractor went out to start the renovations. That's when they discovered the driveway had major structural issues. The repair bill? Over $15,000. The photographs never showed that driveway. The inspection didn't focus on it. Nobody noticed it because nobody physically walked the property beforehand. Think about that. A simple visit could have saved him thousands. One quick drive-by, one pair of eyes, 1 hour, that's all. Instead, it became an expensive lesson. And that's exactly why previewing exists. Another example. Go to Zillow.com and look up 3713 Clinton Avenue, Berwyn, Illinois. This was my old house, my old investment home. Look at the last picture. It is a patio. The patio was broken. Because he had to cross the patio to get to the garage, the inspector would not pass the inspection when I tried selling the house. When I bought the house, unseen, there was no pictures of the patio. So, like a fool, I bought it. Look carefully and you'll see the shoddy work that has been done closer to the garage entrance. I poured in so much money to get that nonsense fixed and just get my money out of that pit. Here's what most out-of-state investors get wrong. First, I must say, you should buy an investment property even if you're out of state. Remember the risk and the distinct advantage. I'm all about the head start and advantages in life and in real estate. I made a video here of the top places for investment in Charlotte. You can check it out. Most people think they are buying a property. They are not. They are buying a location. The house matters, yes, but the location matters even more. You can renovate a kitchen, you can replace a flooring, you can install new roof, but you cannot move the neighborhood. And that's why many out-of-state investors get trapped. They spend hours analyzing spreadsheets, they calculate the cap rate, they estimate the cash flow. They run rental projections, but they never actually visit the street. Big mistake. Because neighborhoods tell stories and those stories don't show up on Zillow. By the way, if you're a beginner or an investor and are looking for guidance on how to get started in real estate investing, feel free to book a 20-minute free phone call with me. Link below in the description. The 5-minute test. Here's something I like to do. And if it's an out-of-state property, you need a runner to do this for you. When you look at a potential investment property, spend 5 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Just simply stand there and watch and observe. That's it. No phone, no talking, no distractions, just observe. And you would be amazed what happens. You will hear loud traffic. You'll notice the neglected homes. You will see people hanging around vacant properties. You will spot things that never appear in listing photographs. Never. Sometimes the property gets better. Sometimes it gets much worse. Either way, you gain information and information makes you money. Lack of information loses money. I made a video on how my investment home got burned down. You can check it out. I stood there after buying the properties for 5 minutes in silence. Do you know what I noticed? I noticed that there were people constantly going in and out of the house that was below my rental. In and out, in and out, in and out. I couldn't understand why. Just, many people going in and out. Later on, the contractor told me that they were dealing in drugs, the people downstairs on the second or the first floor. And then one day the drug deal went south and they burnt my entire building. Yes, you can check it out in the video. See, just 5 minutes is enough for someone like you to judge what the heck is going on. The neighborhood that looked great online. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a neighborhood on Google Street View? It can look pretty good. Clean streets, nice houses, everything seems fine. But here's what most people don't realize. Google images might be years old. And things change fast. A neighborhood that looked great 3 years ago may be struggling today. Happened during COVID, remember? An HOA company in Phoenix did not pay their bills to the waste management company. The homeowners were paying their monthly bills, but still waste was piling up because they stopped picking up the trash. A neighborhood that looked average 3 years ago may be booming today. That's why current eyes on the ground matter. I've seen investors buy property based on outdated images. Then they arrive and discover boarded up houses nearby or crime issues or major decline. By then it's too late. The deal is done and that's an expensive surprise you don't want. The secret weapon smart investors use. Here's something many successful out-of-state investors do. They build a local team, not just an agent, a team, a contractor, a property manager, a handyman, a trusted local investor. Come talk to me in Charlotte. I'm a broker here and I help so many investors. Someone who can put eyes on the property quickly because the goal isn't simply seeing the house. The goal is seeing reality. And reality doesn't always match the listing. In fact, sometimes reality is completely different. Why sellers love blind buyers. Here's something nobody talks about. Sellers love buyers who never visit. Oh, I love them. And I was one of that fool too when I was trying to buy my Berwin home. But why? Because the fewer things you see, the fewer questions you will ask. Think about it. If you walk on a property, you will notice flaws. If you notice flaws, you will negotiate. If you negotiate, the seller makes less money. That's why information gives buyers power. The more you know, the stronger your position becomes. And previewing gives you that information, lots of it. The cost of a plane ticket. Why don't buyers go visit the place before buying? Tell me that. Investors tell me, but flying out costs money. That's true, but let's do the math. Suppose a flight ticket costs $400, a hotel costs $150, a rental car costs $100, maybe the trip costs $700 total. Sounds expensive, right? Until you compare it to buying the wrong property. One bad roof, one foundation issue, one neighborhood problem, that's it. One major repair, suddenly that $700 trip looks like the best investment you ever had. The cheapest mistake is the one that you never make. And sometimes a visit prevents that mistake entirely. Here's what to check during a previewing. Now, let's get practical. When you visit a property, just don't look at the house, look at everything around it. Check the neighboring homes, look for signs of pride ownership, look at parked vehicles, look at vacant properties, drive the area during the day, drive the area at night. Visit on a weekday, visit on a weekend. You want to understand the environment. And don't just visit one property, line up at least 5 to 6 properties before you fly back home. Because tenants don't just rent a house, they rent a neighborhood, and neighborhoods creates value or destroys it. The nighttime test. Here's a trick many experienced investors use. Visit after dark. Seriously, stay in the car, be always safe. I still do that. And I don't take my BMW there. I take my 2007 Honda Civic. I know my car will blend in. A flashy car invites all kinds of troubles. The neighborhood can change dramatically at night. A quiet area during day may become noisy at night. Parking issues may appear. Traffic patterns change. People behave differently. You want a complete picture, not the daytime picture, not the listing picture, the real picture. That's why if you're planning to invest money in real estate, go ahead and book that free 20-minute call with me. We can look up your deal together. Why property managers can save you here. If you're investing hundreds or thousands of dollars, hundreds of miles away, you may not be always able to visit the property. That's understandable, but someone should. A great property manager can often provide valuable insight. A trusted contractor can too. A local investor can be helpful too. The key word is trusted, because you're relying on someone else's eyes. Choose carefully. The wrong person can cost you money. The right person can save you a fortune. What I do till today, 15 years after I bought my first investment home, is go and live in the home when the tenant vacates. Obviously, we are discussing out-of-state investment homes, not the ones in Charlotte. I live in the house. I take my airbed. I take my blanket. I take my pillow. I take my plastic table, my chair, my work laptop. I buy milk and snacks from the local grocery store there. I make sure the contractor does his job on time and in budget. No wasting of my money. No, sorry. The one question nobody asks. Here's a question I always encourage investors to ask. What am I missing? Simple question, powerful question. Because every property has hidden risk. Every single one of those. Your job isn't to eliminate the risk. That's impossible. Your job is to uncover as much risk as possible before the closing. Previewing helps expose those risks, and every risk you discover before closing is one less surprise after closing. And even after closing, when you're staying in the home like I do, you will find problems like loose electrical outlets, windows that don't open or are too old. Remember, buying is not the end of the road. You will put a tenant in that house at some point of time. If there are problems, he will call you, and the contractor knows that you are out of state, so he will charge a premium. Instead, just get things fixed once and for all. That's it. Why emotion is dangerous. Another benefit of previewing: it slows you down, and that's important because excitement is expensive. When investors fall in love with a deal, they stop seeing the problems. Hey, I'm one of those who gets excited. They start justifying issues. They ignore the flags. They convince themselves everything will work out. Previewing forces reality into conversation. Reality is good. Reality protects your money. That's why if you have questions, doubts, concerns, go ahead and book that free 20-minute call with me. The bottom line: if you're investing out of state, previewing is not an expense. It is insurance against bad neighborhoods, insurance against hidden repairs, insurance against misleading photos, insurance against costly surprises. And while it won't catch everything, it catches far more than most investors realize. Remember this: a property can look amazing online, the spreadsheet can look perfect, the numbers seem incredible. But until someone physically sees it, you don't know the whole story. And in real estate, the details you don't see are often the details that cost you the most money. So before you buy your next out-of-state investment property, slow down. Put eyes on it. Walk the neighborhood. Ask questions. Verify everything. Because a few hours before closing could save you thousands of dollars at closing. And that may be the highest return investment you will ever make. If you found this helpful, subscribe to my channel. And in the comments, Let me know. Have you ever looked at a property online that seemed amazing but turned out to be a complete disaster? I love to hear your story. And when you're ready, go watch 10 golden rules to win big in real estate that I made. And until next time, invest wisely, verify everything, and never let a few good photos make a decision for you. This is Vikram signing off. Good luck, goodbye, and go on your freedom. Even if you find an investment property that is out of state, yes, go get it.